ask you a question. Who's coaching you? Who's asking you the tough questions? Who's telling you, man, you're the common denominator to all of your issues and challenges? Who's telling you, man, all day long you become the magnetic pulse that attracts to you both good and bad? I want to be your life coach. I want to be the one that cheers you on to the finish line. I want to be the one that you ask the tough questions. And it doesn't mean that I have all the answers, but that means that you have a partner, someone who believes in you, not the you see right now, but the you can't imagine, the you that you are to become, the you were destined to be. I always say we both need the positive and the negative. It's not enough to have the knowledge of the matter, but we must have the wisdom as well. For wisdom settles it. And that's what I want to offer you as you join me on the Coach's Corner. I want to offer you the wisdom of the matter. Maybe it might be relationships, talking about our campaigns for more, for life, the dark room of our subconscious, our spiritual journey. Whatever it is, I want to be there to encourage you, to build you, to challenge you, to cheer you on to the finish line. I'm qualified to do this. Why? Because I'm you.
That's right. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of the Coach's Corner. As we gather together today and I approach this microphone, I want to admit and confess to you that I have my own personal and professional challenges here and there, things that I'm working on and working out. But I trust that I can earn the right to speak into your life, because we always want to talk about the wisdom of the matter. And today, we're talking about death by guilt, insinuation, and accusation. Are you dying slowly from what other people have put in your head about you and from what they have spread around to family and so-called friends regarding who you are to be? That's what we're talking about today, but I would be remiss if I did not say thank you to all of those of you that listen to us worldwide, wherever SIBN television and radio is broadcasting. Thank you so much for my Twitter followers. Thank you for those that are following us and subscribing to us on Facebook. Thank you to those that subscribe on YouTube, Spreaker, Voicecast, Blog Talk Radio, and beyond. This is the Coach's Corner on SIBN Radio. Stay tuned.
You are tuned in to Chat with the Coach, brought to you in part by SIBN Television and Radio Networks.
Well, death by guilt, insinuation, and accusation. Are you dying from how people look at you? Are you dying from what people have said about you at an early age, and from what people have spread about you to others? One of the things I was thinking about as I was putting together the show today is that guilt kills. Even if you are really guilty, or if you are not guilty but you are assuming the guilt, it kills. It kills your joy, it kills your confidence, it kills your stride, your determination. Why? Because guilt erodes from the inside out and not from the outside in. When we have deposited, I did say deposit, when we make a deposit into our spirits what other people have said about us, good or bad, when we have made a deposit in our spirits what other people have told us their thoughts about us are, guess what? It makes a difference on how we respond and react in life. It's essential for you to understand that we are mirrors one to another. Let me say that again. We are truly and indeed mirrors one toward another. What do I mean? You are not an island. I am not an island to myself. And of a truth, for those of us who walk in covenant, what do I mean by covenant? Perhaps father and son, mother and daughter, perhaps boyfriend and girlfriend, husband or wife. When you honor covenant commitments, they tend to mirror aspects of who we are that we don't like to accept. So we're not negating that fact. But what we're also saying is many of us are living out the consciousness of guilt, having been blamed, having been accused, having been talked and gossiped about so much that when you get around people, they act like everything is okay, and it's not. What is the proof of the pudding? The proof of the pudding of who has been accusing you and who has placed a guilt trip on you is how they act when you finally start getting it together according to your own personal and professional standards. They rarely come to support what you're doing. Look, let's don't make no beans about it here. The bottom line, as I said in another show, people may like you but hate what you do, and people may like what you do and hate you. And I know hate is a strong word, so let me rephrase that. People may not like you but like what you do. Or people may like what you do and not like you. Well, one of the reasons for that is that people often, as Jesus said one time, he says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They know not what they do because most of us don't realize that we're living out the life of our subconscious intentions. The life that you live is the life that you are truly living from the inside out, not from the outside in. We mean to do a lot of good things, but the true us keeps emerging and surfacing. And so we can't keep submerging what keeps surfacing. I need some help right there. We can't keep submerging what keeps surfacing. We eventually have to deal with what keeps surfacing to the top of our lives. And in this case, and for this particular show, I'm talking about the aspects of our lives that surface from the submerging of guilt, insinuations, and accusations. We have internalized the truth that others have wanted us to believe about ourselves. Now listen, that doesn't negate the fact that you don't have weaknesses and things that you're working on. Some of you listening to the sound of my voice really need to get it together. Some of you listening to the sound of my voice, you have invested large blocks of time and resources into making sure that you are coated and protected with, number one, the Word of God. Number two, with motivational, inspirational, spiritual, foundational type material. But it doesn't negate the fact that you don't have weaknesses. I don't care how many layers you place on yourself of protection by grace and mercy. You are still liable for the subconscious intention that you distribute and disseminate on and into the lives of others. And I'm telling you today that we have to rise in a resurrection type rising from the dead of the guilt that people have placed on us. And when I come back from the break, I want to talk more about what I mean that we, you, and I need to rise from the grave of insinuation, rise from the grave of accusation, rise from the grave of carrying around the guilt trips that we didn't measure up to what this one and that one said, and we didn't follow the advice of this one and that one, and now because we did not succumb to the control of those that wanted to control us, even though they didn't even realize, remember, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They didn't even realize that they were trying to control us because they don't even realize that they're living by the subconscious intention of their own lives, but they just spilled over onto your life, and now you are dying slowly because you are laden with guilt, insinuation, and accusation. This is the coach.
responsible, accountable. Who taught you that? My daddy taught me that. That's right, the new book, all the way from Asheville, North Carolina, representing the legacy of Benny Lake, is Keenan Lake, the author of My Daddy Taught Me That, the book and the program for young men in Asheville, North Carolina, and throughout the region. Tune in to the program, the project, and the book at mydaddytaughtmethat.com. For more information, email lake@mydaddytaughtmethat.com or call 828-582-2261. That's 828-582-2261. mydaddytaughtmethat.com.
Ustedes están escuchando SIBN, transmitido por Salet USA TV. Síganos en Twitter @SaletUSATV o visítenos en www.41596radio.com.
Thank you for joining us right here on SIBN Radio. We're talking about death by guilt, insinuation, and accusation. And before the break, we were talking about how that our lives have been laden with guilt. You see, it becomes guilt because we internalize it and we own the statements, the insinuations, and the accusations of others. I know exactly what I'm talking about, folks. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And the internalization of others' insinuations affect and infect our situations. I need some help. You need to tweet, Coach, you right on the money with that one right there. I said the internalizations of other people's insinuations affect and infect our situations and circumstances. And so thereby we have to realize, as we say on the Coach's Corner all the time, that I am the common denominator. If it's to be, it's up to me. There's something about my own life that has been infected or affected by the deposits that others have made, by which I had made and signed off on that deposit. Perhaps you might have been young. Let's break this thing down to the common denominator. Perhaps you were young during this time of assimilating the guilt and the insinuations and the accusations. You were young. You were fertile. You were in your early development stage, and you were in your prime, if you will. You were pliable. You were meek. You were teachable. You were impressionable, and someone did not know how to care and how to have pride in your development, and someone was careless, as the one Bible story where somebody dropped you by accident. Somebody dropped you. Somebody dropped a dime on you, and they begin to speak negative things about you, and they begin to insinuate that you will never be anybody. Someone even insinuated that won't work. Oh, that's a good one right there. That won't work when you do that. And I've had people say to me, I'm talking about family folks, and sometimes close friends will say to you, well, why don't you do this? As my pastor say, unsolicited advice. Who asked you? This is my life. This is my time. This is my season. How dare you step into my space with no kind of calculated understanding of what my purpose is, of what my mission is, and give me unsolicited advice? Who asked you? Is what you think in your mind, but you might need to start asking people, did I ask you for any advice? Well, I think you need to do this. And I've had people step to me, is the reason why I think you went through this is because you should have did this and you should have did that. But let me tell you this, you may need to be old enough now to speak up for yourself and to put some of these insinuations and accusations and guilt trips in place and in check, and let folks know, listen, when I need your help, I will ask you. Until then, butt out and let me do my purpose and mission and accomplish my destiny. But a lot of times we're too intimidated because the people that often place us on guilt trips and insinuate things and accuse us of things, those are the people we seem to respect the most. Why is it then that the people that we respect the most hurt us the worst? I need some help right there. DJ, you need to hook me up right there. Why do the people that we respect the most hurts us the worst? Because you know what? they captured us and captured our attention during a time of development. We were soft, pliable, meek, fragile, and they made deposits into us that they never took back. They never took back those deposits. In fact, I would like to even go as far as to say that some of our accounts, internal accounts, have been frozen by the confusion and chaos of the deposits of others, and we ourselves have been launched into many, many projects, having a back thought wonder about why it is that my project and my success doesn't go but so far. Why do I keep hitting a glass ceiling? Because your deposits have been frozen, because they are mixed and contaminated with other people's guilt trips, insinuation, and accusation. And until you go to the court of your spirit and make a correction and tell the authorities of your life that, listen, there are some things in my account that we don't want. Take back the $1 million guilt trip. Take back the insinuation that I'm not straight, or that what I'm doing is not legit, or that I won't be successful in this or that. Take those things back, because now I am enacting, oh, I need some help right there. I am enacting a new deposit. Somebody said you can't say don't do something without saying what to do. If you take away that which is wrong, you got to replace it with that which is right. And I want to encourage you today to understand and comprehend that your life is your life. And yes, you are responsible with your life, but you got to stop living your life by the guilt trip that other people will place on you, because they're living in another time and another season, had other experiences. And while they call themselves trying to give wisdom to you to straighten you out, you need to be on your knees with your eyes perhaps in a book somewhere, spending some quiet, studious time to gather your own thoughts and meditations to ensure that your destiny and your mission and your life's purpose is fulfilled. Because at the end of the day, when you stand before God, who made you, who created the fabric of your being, you can't say mama and them, you can't say papa and them. You're going to have to admit, and you're going to have to confess that, God, I use them as my excuse not to accomplish anything, and I use them as an excuse not to go further and higher. And Lord, I am guilty by the guilt that they placed on me, that I accepted as my own guilt, and I'm also guilty by the insinuations that they placed on me by their own experiences, and I'm also guilty by internalizing the accusations that my family and friends and those that I respected the worst, who have now made me feel, come on, I need some help. Those that I respected the most, that have now hurt me the worst with their accusations, insinuations, and guilt trips. I need you to rise from the wreckage. I need you to rise from the grave and understand that the only way you're going to live this life, you're going to have to make your own mistakes. You're going to have to learn some of your own wisdoms. Yes, people can contribute this and that, but at the end of the day, and that's what DCC is all about, we are the common denominator. I can't keep blaming them even though they put a guilt trip on me. I've got to rise from the wreckage and rise from the grave. Listen, this is the third day in your life. When I come right back from the break, I'm going to talk about how this is the third day of your life. The first day they crucified you, the second day they buried you. It's time for you to rise from the grave. This is the Coach.
Hardcore motivation, baby. Daily inspiration, sugar. Spiritual foundation, brother. That's what you got to have when you're rolling with the Coach on DCC. We offer it every day, Monday through Sunday, man, right there at www.415-96 Radio. That's right, www.415-96 Radio. Hardcore motivation, daily inspiration, and your spiritual foundation from the Coach. Y'all got to tune in. Follow me on Twitter at SelectUSATV. Come on, Instagram, follow us. Thank you so much. Follow me there at SelectUSATV. And don't forget Facebook.com at SelectUSATV as well. And we have a show page. Don't forget the Coach's Corner on SIBN Radio on Facebook. Whatever you do, tune in. hardcore motivation.
Tune in. That's right.
We're back here in the studio, man. Let's talk about third day resurrection for a minute. Let's talk about third day resurrection. The first day they crucified you, that was the day when you fell into the trap of tragic momentum. What is tragic momentum? Tragic momentum is when you're caught in the thicket of other people who did not develop appropriately. Tragic momentum. And the snowballing of their interaction with your development caused your development to be tainted with the imperfections of intention. I need some help right there. And so now thereby you have to, as they say in the church, in the old church, you have to cleanse your way and cleanse your spirit by virtue of discovering your path and uncovering your purpose. I need some help right there. Cleanse your path. If it don't fit, then you must acquit. I hate to borrow that from the O.J. Simpson trial, but it's true in our own personal lives. There are things that people have said to us, things that people have insinuated, things that people have accused us of that never fit. And listen, most of us had a reaction rather than a response. Where you're old enough now to begin to respond to the guilt trips, the insinuations, and the accusations. And listen, it's going to be a very, very precise surgery of a response. Because you know what? If you're not careful, you will mix what you truly are weak at with the guilt, the insinuation, and the accusation, and thereby, by default, become arrogant and prideful. Become arrogant and prideful and refuse to improve you. But I'm talking to people that have been improving themselves, but yet wondering, why am I hitting a glass ceiling? Why is it that I only seem to go but so far? Why is it that my projects seem to fall off when they reach a certain level? It is because I have been contaminated. In the earliest parts of my development, with the imperfection and imperfect intention of others, though they might have meant well, their way was wrong or their way was imperfect. And rather than coming back and trying to correct what they have deposited, they continue on as if their lives now are all together. You know, that's the part that really pisses me off, is that a lot of people have built their lives on your back. They have built their lives by distributing guilt trips on others in their early development years. And now they sit in the place of so-called peace and tranquility and prosperity, having ruined your life, they think anyway. But I want you to have a third day mentality. Oh my God, I felt something push me right there. I want you to have a third day drive. I want you to have a third day momentous push. I want you to have a third day psyche. I want you to have third day meditations. And third day means the first day I was guilty or I was not guilty, but whatever the case was, I was crucified. The second day I was thrown away. I was buried, thrown away. I was forgotten about. But let me tell you, the coach stopped by to tell you today that no more death by guilt, insinuation, and accusation that's mixing up with your circumstances and situations. Now it's time for you to rise from the wreckage of your past and let go the things that people said to you or the things that people have said to others about you that spilled over into your ears, of which where you even co-signed and deposited into your spirit. I felt something push me. Sign your own deposits. You do not need a co-signer on this new account that you're going to establish in the spirit. You do not need your mama, your daddy and them, brother and them, baby and them to co-sign on the new understanding. I felt some push me, because if you get understanding, you'll have everything you need. And this show is about getting you the understanding of why you keep hitting a glass ceiling. Why is it that the bottom keeps falling out when I get to a certain level? It is because I am living my life out of a consciousness and an intention that has been tainted by somebody who was tainted, who didn't know better enough to wash and cleanse themselves before they stepped to this precious gift. I felt something push me right there. And you know what? The chain reaction doesn't guarantee a change reaction. Going on and on and on about what they did to you is not what I'm talking about. But recognizing what they did to you and how deep the damage goes, and what the collateral damage may suggest to you is that what you thought you believed, now you need to rearrange your belief system. Because if you rearrange your belief system and change the way you're looking at things, the things that you're beginning to look at in this new level of understanding will begin to change. For instance, I'm running out of time, but listen, let's take, for instance, money. If you had a bad experience with money early on in life, and if you check the records of your life, most folks have had a bad experience with money growing up. Either you didn't have enough or you had money, but the people around you were so strict about you having money that you never really achieved a balanced sense or a balanced understanding or a balanced intelligence or a modest approach to money. And so now you struggle. I remember when I struggled to pay bills on time because I never understood the reason why I should pay bills on time, because when I did do things on time with money as a child, I was highly criticized, and it was insinuated that I was stealing the money even though I was working for my own money. And it was an accusation here or there, and it tainted my view of money at an early age. And so I struggled in my adult years paying bills on time because, frankly, I didn't even understand why I should pay bills on time, because I didn't know about the credit score. I didn't know about how that affects your job and where you live. You see, the lack of understanding blocked the intelligence of knowing to do what I knew what to do, but the lack of understanding on how it worked and what I would do that would fuel my future was lacking, because I was hanging on subconsciously to the guilt and the insinuations and the accusations of my early upbringing. I said it, but I don't want you to be a victim. This requires a third day mentality. And I got to get ready to get out of here. But I want you to be encouraged, and I want you to understand that no one is greater than God in you. And you and God together can accomplish the impossible, touch the intangible, and reach the invisible. Follow me on Twitter if you can, Facebook.com also /Select USA for my personal page, and Select USA TV. Many fan pages for the shows that we have on SIBN Radio. Don't forget to like the Coach's Corner fan page right there on Facebook. Just type in Facebook.com, the Coach's Corner. And also follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and all that there, man. You are now in the zone for a third day lifestyle. Resurrection from the wreckage, from the rubbish of guilt, insinuations, and accusations. When the next time a person steps to you with that junk from the past, I want you to say, "Excuse me." I want you to excuse yourself, dismiss them, or excuse yourself. Do one of the two. But do not sit there anymore and internalize. Some people's conversation is riddled with the drippings of guilt, insinuation, and accusation, where your life would have been better if you would have taken my advice. Listen, you got the download. Don't forget, this is available, free download for this show. Download the show, listen to it again and again until you get it down in your spirit that you are the common denominator in every situation. This Coach.
I need you to realize and accept that there is only one philosophy that I have embraced under the Coach's Corner's umbrella, and that is that we are the common denominator in every situation. So I can't blame them, they, her, and him. I am stepping up to the plate, and I realize it's all me. Not that it's all about me, but it's all about the legacy for those that come behind me to achieve a height of success that I can't even imagine. This is called the transgenerational shift of mindsets, that we may propel ourselves into the generations that is to come and tell them, I won't leave you a mess that you have to clean up, but I'll leave you a principle-centered life that you can celebrate and catapult into more success. Join me on the Coach's Corner at www.415-96radio.com. That's www.415-96radio.com, and follow me on Twitter. That's the only way you can keep up with the coach. That's right, DCC is in the house on SIBN Radio. Tune in.